As you've been informed, my name is Fred Munnings. I am a proud member of the Baintown and Grantstown Advancement Association, and I am honored to be your Master of Ceremonies this evening. My charge is very simple: to keep the program moving smoothly so that we get you out of here very early due to the inclement weather. I'm sure you don't want to be on the road late hours with the bad weather and the slippery road. So without rushing our presenters, we will make sure that you get the full brunt of what they have to say, but we will try to move it along as efficiently as we can. And so I will establish somewhat of a protocol, after which there will be no need for anyone to repeat it unless it's absolutely necessary. I'd first like to recognize Mrs. Francesca Moss, the beautiful wife of Reverend Dr. C.B. Moss, who's organizing this program this evening. Sitting beside her is the lovely Miss Queenie Ferguson, the wife of one of our presenters. And you will get a chance to get to know who he is very, very shortly. Dr. Tracy Thompson, the director of Oral History Institute. I understand from that time, that's the way we recognize it in oral history. Dr. Tracy Thompson is here, and some of you would know that she is the daughter of the late Jeffrey Thompson, who was very active during this period of which we're going to speak tonight. So she has some first-hand information. I'm sure she may have some questions and some comments that she would like to make when we get to the question and answer period. We have representatives of the Commonwealth of Bahamas Trade Union Congress in good numbers this evening. We see a number of presidents here, and we want to thank them for coming. If you just raise your wave at us so we know who you are, and their members, thank you very much for coming in support of this wonderful effort this evening. I see that Mr. Jim Lawler is here. He's the past president, I believe, of the Historical Society. And his daughter is here, I understand, Lisa, who's an adjunct professor at the University of the Bahamas. So give them both a nice round of applause. My brother Raphael is here. You all would know him. And I point him out because he and I were talking earlier today, and he's got a wealth of knowledge of this era. He's a little older than I am. So he too may have some comments by which, and being the Masters of Ceremony, I have the liberty of perhaps maybe inviting one or two other people to the microphone. So I may take that liberty depending on how much time we have as we move along. So one last thing, I do apologize on behalf of His Excellencies to other folks. Some of you may have gotten information earlier that he would have been one of our presenters, as a matter of fact, our featured presenter. Unfortunately, he is not doing well, and so therefore he would not be with us this evening. So I do apologize on his behalf, and I send him warm greetings on all of our behalf for a speedy recovery. I understand he's suffering perhaps from a flu bug or something, and it's going around, so we do understand and empathize with him. So, that being said, we'd like to get right into the purpose of this lecture this evening. I'm not going to even attempt to try to give you any kind of overview, because we have got, I believe, two of the best persons among us who can speak to it from a historical perspective and from a labor perspective. And as you know, when we talk about majority rule, labor was at the forefront. But before we do, we're going to ask Reverend Dr. C.B. Moss, who is the president of the Bains and Grantstown Advancement Association, to please come and give us the official welcome and make his remarks and give us an overview as to why he felt that this kind of lecture is important to the development of our people. Reverend Dr. C.B. Moss. Thank you.
A pleasant good evening to all of you. The Bain Grantstown Advancement Association is very pleased to be hosting this Majority Rule Day lecture, particularly as it would emphasize the contribution of the labor movement, which over the years has been depreciated, at least in my opinion. Majority Rule Day was, without a doubt, one of the greatest events in the history of the Bahamas, and most worthy of remembrance and commemoration. However, in the decades of the 80s and 90s, less and less was heard of this nationally important event, as it was obviously fading from the memory of our adult population, as the significance of Majority Rule Day was never properly communicated to our children. Generations of them grew up knowing little or next to nothing about Majority Rule Day. This was not only sad, but very disturbing. And our organization was determined to do whatever we could to keep Majority Rule Day from slipping into the dark shadows of Bahamian history. We thought we would do that until it was better understood and supported, and that it was given its rightful place in the nation's historical firmament. As Bain Grantstown, also known as Over the Hill, was the heart and the soul of the progressive movement in this country, decades before 1967. And it was the epicenter of the Majority Rule pre-activities. Most of the rallies, marches, demonstrations, prayer meetings, fundraising took place on either the Southern Recreation Ground or Windsor Park, both in Bain Grantstown. Indeed, most of the principal players had deep connection with Bain Grantstown. Many of you may be aware that the leaders of the women's suffrage movement, virtually all, came from Bain or Grantstown. And it was a clear indication that they were the engine that drove the activities leading up to Majority Rule Day. Indeed, we of Bain Grantstown see and embrace Majority Rule Day as a legacy of Bain Grantstown. And in the effort to keep this legacy alive, the Bain Grantstown Advancement Association, since 2004, held a Thanksgiving service and other activities each year when no other entity in this nation was doing it. We were determined not to allow it to be forgotten. So for the past 14 years, we led the way in observing Majority Rule Day. This year we have added this lecture to our list of activities, and we are extremely grateful to our eminent presenters who will provide very, very important information to us. We should also like to thank them for being guests on our television program over the past 2 weeks. Some of you may have caught it. We had both Fred Munnings and Obie Ferguson and Dr. Curry dispensing a tremendous amount of vital information. And if anyone would like a copy of the program, please contact our office. We'd be delighted to provide it to you. We should also like to thank the Bahamas Historical Society for accommodating us this evening. And so, on behalf of the officers and the members of the Bay and Grandstown Advancement Association, we officially welcome you and trust that you are looking forward to a very informative evening, because you will receive that. Thank you very much.